Look, I'm not as old as Joe Biden, and I must say, watching that performance of his at that unscripted media conference that lasted almost an hour today was one of the saddest, most confronting appearances by a world leader that I've ever seen in my life. Right off the top, his mental capacity was on full show when less than a minute in, he confused his own vice president's name with that of his opponent and tormentor, Donald Trump.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president because I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
Unbelievable. Now, later, he started talking foreign policy in Australia, and we always like to be mentioned. Well, we got not one mention, but two in the same sentence.
A group from the South Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Australia. I already mentioned Australia.
You just shake your head. Joe Biden swayed between rambling crazily and losing his train of thought completely to suddenly appear to walk from one dementia-induced coma to start shouting at the assembled media pack about things like gun control, bullets, kids and Trump.
We're sitting around. More children are killed by a bullet than any other cause of death. The United States of America. What the hell are we doing? What are we doing? We got a candidate saying, promise the NRA, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything.
What are we doing is a very good question. What's he doing? It's unbelievable. Earlier in the day, he confused Volodymyr Zelensky with his invading enemy, Vladimir Putin.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway.
Look, if this wasn't so important for the world, it would be a clear case of a confused old man being pushed out on stage by various close family members who are clearly telling him he's fit enough to keep going and stand again for election. But worse, if he wins, he'll be the leader of the free world. And then he would be 85 at the end of the next term. I mean, clearly the world needs someone else doing that job. We have the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. We have deadly conflict in the Middle East, with Israel responding to a terrorist attack from Hamas, with Hezbollah raining rockets down on Israel backed by Iran. And you've got the Houthi rebels, also backed by Iran, attacking shipping. You can add to that a belligerent China threatening not to just invade Taiwan, but expanding in the South China Sea, upsetting the Philippines, and closer to us, getting a foothold over various South Pacific nations. Make no mistake, the alternative, Donald Trump, is not much better. Popular at home in the US, but seen around the world as a loose cannon in dangerous times. His crazy taunting of Biden over golf games is pretty childish stuff when you think what's at stake. Look, it amazes most people, including me, that a nation that gave us JFK, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush and Barack Obama can only deliver up these two to vote for president. The Democrats should be embarrassed that in all of the United States, they not only can't bring themselves to pull a pin on Biden, but they can't find an alternative. They need someone, an inspiring, smart, charismatic candidate to take on Donald Trump. The Republicans, likewise, should have convinced Trump he had his go. Thanks for your service, but we are jumping generations and picking the future of our party. But it's not just the US with uninspiring, weak leaders. Look at the mess in the UK. Look at the mess in France. And closer to home, the leadership of our own country by a disappointing first-term Prime Minister in Anthony Albanese, who lost a voice referendum and is obsessed with driving our economy into the ground with the renewable fantasy, ignoring even looking at nuclear, and who appears to be starting to lose control of our borders while swamping us with migrant numbers we clearly can't cope with. The world today is a very dangerous place.